it's finally come for that time for the Bronco to reach dealerships, and Gulf Coast Gearheads could not be more excited.
Yeah, so we're waiting anxiously for the reveal and find out what we think about it on this episode.
So Jacob, first things first, I think we got to talk about this is the starting price is supposedly going to be around the low 30s, so around 32,000 or so. Mm-hmm. Pretty excited about that one. What do you think?
It's actually cheaper than what I was expecting with new vehicles upping their prices. We've seen it with other OEMs and other vehicles that they've been kind of nixing work trucks, for example, like Colorado and Frontier. So overall, the starting price is increasing. So I was kind of expecting a higher number. Again, starting price, that's the cheapest model you could configure, but that's still, I was expecting something in the 40s for the starting price.
Right, and I think just the nature of this market, I mean, if you really want to talk about it, is against the Jeep Wranglers.
Yeah.
And so 100%, we know there's no such thing as a cheap Jeep Wrangler that you would actually want.
Yeah.
We know that their starting price is actually lower than what the Bronco is expected to be, but for a Bronco to be suited out exactly the way you would actually want it, with all that nice off-roading equipment and features like that, I'm thinking it's probably gonna be pushing into the mid 40s.
Probably.
So still very dependable vehicle, being that I think it's actually a local, it's a Ford product. So I think in comparison to maybe like the Land Rover Defender, you have that somewhat of a reliability going for you.
Yeah.
And then even against Jeep Wranglers, I think this may be more of a daily driver than a Jeep Wrangler, but I don't know. What do you think?
We'll see. We'll have to see how it rides. I mean, they have 3 different models, what we've seen so far. You're going to have the 2-door, which would be comparable to the 2-door Wrangler, right? Then you have 4-door, same thing. But then they have the 4-door Sport, which is a little bit in between the 2 and the 4-door. So it kind of, to me, has a wider market appeal than the Wrangler, because it's like you went 2 doors or 4 doors. It's the same Wrangler. Like there's no difference. So it'd be the same thing if Bronco was like 2-door, 4-door. It's going to be the same vehicle, but just have an extra row and extra doors. But the Sport, that's what makes the difference to the customers. I think that's going to reach a different market with that one specifically.
Right, and I think it's a similar thing that Jeep did when they brought the Renegade back. And if you guys didn't know, the Renegade was a vehicle they had in the 70s, so a very long time ago. And now with the Renegade, I think Ford is just trying to get real aggressive and go into that Jeep market. That is a tough one. That's like telling people they shouldn't buy Subarus anymore.
It's definitely a cult following. And of course, a lot of my Jeep friends, we've been talking about Broncos in previous videos before, they all message me like, yeah, but the Wrangler is still a factor. Like, yeah, it's still a factor, but it'll be interesting to see how the Bronco stacks up against it. I think they're really trying to do everything they can. We already know that it's going to come with the 2.3 EcoBoost, which is a 4-cylinder that's in the Ranger now. But we've seen articles where the Ford Performance off-road engineers and Ford Performance engineers have talked about how the Bronco R, which is you've probably seen them floating around, their Baja Bronco that they've been whipping around, and it looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That has the 2.7 EcoBoost in it, which is the V6 twin turbo that's in the newer F-150. So if that's a second engine option, that's still a pretty good engine option for the Bronco.
Right, I mean, you're talking about an off-roading vehicle that you're going to allow to have about 325 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque.
Oh, yes.
So I'm all for it. Really excited to finally get to see some of these driving around on the road. I mean, we had the same issue back, and it's a different vehicle with the Arteon when it finally got to dealerships. But outside of that, if you guys are actually thinking about buying one, I think this is a solid opportunity to get a vehicle similar to how the Supra just released, of something that's going to have some extreme resale value way down the line. I think this will be a collectible vehicle they bring back to times with the Bronco.
Yes.
So,
but the real question is though, Josh, would you buy one?
I would get one if I could, because I know it's supposed to come in like 20 different colors, supposedly.
Yeah. We've seen some pretty crazy colors.
Like I think they have one that almost looks like the grabber blue that they use on the Mustangs. I think that just looks sick.
That'll get me 100% of the time.
So I'm pretty pumped about just the customization side of it.
Yeah.
But I do think if I had the money and outside of my extreme muscle car that I'd be driving around, as a normal car, or even like my Mercedes C63 that I get one day, I think the Bronco is definitely something to have on the weekends just to pull the boat possibly, or even just have a good time.
Yeah. And with something like the 2.7 EcoBoost that we're talking it may get, definitely has towing capacity with that engine. And even the 2.3 that the Ranger has had a best-in-class towing of the mid-class trucks. So you definitely could tow in either one of those engine options. But I'm excited to see what the aftermarket market will bring.
Yes.
To the Bronco, because I mean, we've seen all kinds of pictures of old Broncos and how people have tricked them out and customized them, much like what the Jeep Wranglers have been accustomed to. So I'm very excited to see what the aftermarket will bring to this vehicle.
Right, and a lot of this is coming up. We got the big release coming here on July 13th. You guys let us know in the comments section what you're looking forward to, any colors that you've seen, or any of the features you're hoping to see, and if maybe you're going to buy one. But we really appreciate you guys always coming out and watching us and supporting us. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Let us know how we did.
Yeah, and if you get one, whenever we get to the dealerships, send us pictures because we want to see them for sure.
Right, or even if you're a friend of ours, let us know. We'll come and review it, put you guys, and show off what your car looks like, man.
Oh, yeah. But without further ado, that's Gulf Coast Gearheads signing off.